hello everyone. It's your host Timur with our lovely partners Dylan and Seb on the Matchii Experience. Hi guys.
Hello.
Hi.
So in today's episode, we're having a very special guest. So Katy Vergis Mayo. So Katy owns a small independent business called A Baker's Craft that delivers high quality and specialized custom goods to customers across GTA over the past 10 years. So bakeries. On top of her passion for baking, she's also a regional planning lawyer in an established firm in Toronto. So for today's episode, we will look into Katy's vision and story with A Baker's Craft and how she's been able to balance two jobs at the same time. I hope you guys enjoy the Matchii Experience. Thank you, Katy, for joining us on this podcast. We're happy to have you.
I'm happy to be here.
Yeah. So from what I've gathered is you run a bakery and at the same time you have a second career. So I guess tell us a bit about yourself and tell us a bit about your bakery.
Okay, so I'm Katy. I founded A Baker's Craft about 10 to 11 years ago now. I do it as actually my side job. So my main job's as a lawyer. My side job is as a baker. It's been pretty good. It's pretty busy. I make specialty cakes, so like wedding cakes. I do birthday cakes. All the ones that you see that are pretty customized. So all the fondant on them that look like books or watches. Like they don't look like a normal cake. They look like an item. Those are the types of cakes I make. And then I also make cookies, cupcakes, all that kind of stuff. And I recently branched out to start offering like craft products. So we also offer now like customized cheese boards. So we engrave them to say whatever the client wants. And then as my full-time job, I work as a lawyer in a downtown Toronto law firm. Okay. And it's pretty busy. I'm a municipal and planning law lawyer. I don't know how I find the time between the two, but somehow it works. And that's basically who I am.
Okay. So how did that come about? How did you start doing, I guess, your bakery stuff and doing law at the same time?
So I always wanted to go into planning. It was something that my father did as a child. I did. Well, my father did while I was a child. So it kind of grew up in that area. So going into planning and then into law was kind of inevitable for me. But for baking, I actually got injured. So I'm a big sports player. I've always played sports. It's something that like, if I can't do it, like during COVID has been awful because I have no sports. It sucks. But I got pretty injured when I was 16. I tore my ACL. So, yeah, it was awful. My first one of 3 though. So
it's okay. Well, I have 2, so I'm on my way to catch up to you.
Yeah, so you're almost there. You know how bad it is.
Yeah.
The same
Hopefully
knee
no
or
more.
Knees? Is yours the same? Was yours the same knee?
No, it was 2 different knees.
Okay, so that was like mine. I did one knee twice and then one knee once. Awful. Not fun. But your second one's not that bad, so it's okay. But the first one was awful for me.
Yeah.
I was miserable.
Yeah.
So I kind of, because of Cake Boss, I don't know if you ever watched that show with Buddy, where he does all those cakes. I found it so cool. I was always so intrigued by it. It was what I was watching while I was bedridden by this awful ACL injury. And I kind of just wanted to learn how to do it. So I got some books. I looked at YouTube. Well, my mom bought me books while I was in bed. I looked at YouTube videos and it kind of just went from there. I learned how to do things and then it turned out I was good at it. Okay. So I made a bakery. Yeah.
All right. Wow. That to be fair, that's kind of a good turnaround. Yeah. So I also tore my ACL, which was not fun.
Soccer or what sport?
Sorry. Yeah. So that was fun. Yeah. They actually tried to convince me that it wasn't an ACL the second time, and I'm like, I'm sure. And they're like, no, trust me. And then I go to scan, and that's like, yeah. So that was great. Yeah. So I mean,
once you've done it, you just know.
You just know. Yeah. You just know. So how did you go from, I want to do this to, let's actually make a business out of it?
It wasn't really my idea at the time. It was more like my family's idea. I was making cakes for my friends and families just casually, and I wasn't getting paid for it. It was just something I was doing for fun because I enjoyed it. And then one of my mom's friends had asked for a cake, and my mom was like, you should start a business and charge them for these instead of just doing it for free for everyone. So it kind of just worked from there. Like my sister went to Schulich Business School, so she helped me with the business side of things. Okay. So I had no idea what I was doing there, like none whatsoever. I didn't even know how to make an Excel sheet showing like what my costs were and then how much things costed me to make. But she set that all down, and then I kind of just started with it. I started it on Facebook and then on Instagram when Instagram became popular. and now I'm expanding to Etsy. But it was more my family's idea to start doing his business. It worked out well because then once I started the business side of things, my coworkers at where I used to work started ordering cakes, and then it became popular. Yeah, everyone started ordering cakes, and then like you bring it to work once, and people are hooked, and then they have to order more. So it's a good strategy.
So you already have a client base, set. So that's a good way to start a business.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so how does one actually start it? I mean, I assume there's gonna be a lot of things to cover, but like, give us like a quick rundown of like how do you start a bakery?
Well, I think the biggest thing for me was finding recipes that people liked. So when I was first starting out, aside from the business side's a whole other like area, but like starting, you have to figure out what people like. Like there's lots of cakes out there, there's lots of recipes out there, but you have to find what your clientele likes. So I did a lot of taste testing. Basically, I tried a lot of different cake recipes. I changed it up to be my own. And then from there, I kind of used my family and friends to try them all out and see which ones they like. Yeah, they still complain about how much I don't eat it because I like make it. So then after I've made it, I just don't want to eat it because I spent so much time with it already.
Yeah.
That my friends and family all eat it now. Even now, I made like a new item, and I tried like 15 different versions of it, and everyone got mad because they're like, "We're gonna gain all this weight from you making all these things, and you just don't eat any of it." So it's a win-win for me, though. But so I think the biggest thing was starting out like what items I was going to include, what versions of that item. So it's a lot. Like there's hundreds of I keep repeating it, but there's so many recipes out there.
Well, yeah.
It's so interesting to see, like when you buy from one bakery and then you buy from another bakery, you'll never get the same exact recipe. Like vanilla is still vanilla, but it's still different no matter where you're getting it from. Like there's always a component that makes it unique to that bakery. And then actually like looking how you're going to advertise your business. That was another big thing for me. So Facebook at the time was more popular, I would say. But then Instagram started becoming popular. So expanding into like that field, always having a good marketing strategy is good. So like Instagram tells you to use hashtags more often than not. A lot of people don't post it often, it's fine as you're starting out. And then when you start like when you're becoming more prevalent, you should start posting every day kind of thing. So it's getting marketing strategies down. They're very important because without them, like I found that when I started doing more activity on Instagram, my followers started growing and I started getting more clients from people who I didn't know. And also like making sure that you're working with your clients. Like that was the other big thing. A lot of people don't realize how big customer service is, but when you're starting out your business, you need to make sure you have good customer service because one client will refer you to one client who will refer you to another client who will refer you to more clients. So it's really big. The financial side of things is my sister's field. So I'm not much to that. You have to make sure you have that stuff down. Like it was definitely harder for me at the beginning, not knowing how to do all of that. I didn't have a background in business at all. Like I did planning. It's completely different. It's how you build the city, not how you build the business. But my sister like showed me how to do that. But making sure you're not undervaluing your time, and then making sure you account for all your ingredients is pretty big because if you're not doing that, and a lot of it's hard at the beginning. I've talked to my friends who are starting out businesses now. One of my friends actually just started a cupcake shop. And she talked to me a bit about it too. Like it's very hard, especially with COVID right now, because people are very cautious of their financials to make sure you're not losing out on your time and your costs just because like of pricing. So you have to be competitive, but you also have to make sure you're accounting for all that. So it's a lot.
Yeah. So how was the COVID thing for you? Did you manage to get a few business going or?
Yeah. Well, you know what? It actually ended up spiking for me, but at the beginning of COVID, I ran a little charity. So I did a cupcake for charity and I sold cupcakes and donated all the funds to help first responders.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, and it actually like spiked my sales. A lot of people were interested in it. I didn't expect it to. I was more looking at it because it was like a thank you to people who are doing everything they're doing for us right now. Like it's a crazy time.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
At the beginning, we didn't even know if we were going to have jobs anymore. So like it was more to say thank you to everyone because like some of my friends got COVID. It's not very fun, but so I did it as a thank you, and it kind of spiked. Lots of people bought cupcakes, and then I started getting reoccurring orders from that, and people started finding out more about my business, and my business actually spiked a lot during COVID, which was interesting because my work decreased a little bit.
So it's perfect.
Yeah, but then in September they both spiked, so it's been very hectic since September. but it was challenging at the, like, I would say like over the summer it was a little bit harder with people going out more.
Mm-hmm.
But once people started going, like, not having things to do anymore, I think they started having like family functions, getting cupcakes, ordering cakes. So it's been good. It hasn't, it's also, I do it out of my home, so it's not really, I don't have all the extra costs that small business.
Yeah. So you don't have to travel anywhere. You don't have to like rent anything. Well, apart from your house or if you own it.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
yeah, that's actually quite interesting because I mean, during the pandemic, I had too much free time, no uni, no work, so I started doing YouTube as a side thing. And so my question is to you now, because also right now I do notice that when you put a lot of time into it and you have work, it's starting to get a lot. So how do you balance your baking job and your law job? Like how do you physically manage to fit everything in the 24-hour period?
It's challenging sometimes. I find that if I've started to put a limit on when I'll take an order, so I can only take
Yeah.
an order if you can't order for the next day anymore, because of how busy things are getting. I used
Mm-hmm.
to take orders like that depending on my schedule, but now that things are getting busier, I have to take orders like a few days in advance. But it's more like organizing my time. Like I will set aside like blocks of time where I will bake the cake, and then it will cool, and then I will decorate the cake later that evening. So it's really about like managing. So if I like, for example, once, like, if I have a cake order, this week I actually had a cake order, so I stopped around 5 to bake my cake order.
Mm-hmm.
Once it was in the oven, I went back and continued my regular job. And then after it was done, I took it out, I prepared it to cool down, and then around like 8:30, I decorated it. But it's really like balancing act. Like I have to make sure I
Yeah.
plan, like the day before, I plan to see if I have to go to the grocery store, and then if I have to go, I plan for a specific time in my schedule to do that. It's I have like a detailed schedule. Like it's like an hourly schedule, and I put it into my calendar hourly base. So that way I know when a certain time comes around that time is set aside for this, or that time set aside for that. I find that if I don't do that, it can get so overwhelming and hectic, and I can forget to do something, and then I'm just scrambling at the last minute. So I found that like making sure my hourly like schedule is up to date is very, very helpful.
Yeah,
And
because I think go on. Sorry.
sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say because that's something I need as well because I do struggle to balance these two things.
Yeah, I do it in my phone. So my phone,
All right.
like every hour, my phone, both my work phone and my personal cell phone, will pop up with what my hourly like thing is. So that way, if I'm only looking at one phone, I still see it. But I do it in my phone, so that way I have that like 15-minute reminder for whatever is upcoming.
Okay. All right. So right. So if you had, I mean, it's a bit of a cheeky question, but if you had to make a choice between becoming a full-time lawyer or a full-time baker, could you choose, or is it just something like, no, I have to do both?
I don't know. I thought
Okay.
about it. I personally, like, I love my legal job.
Mm-hmm.
It's what I've been doing for the last 10 years as well. So
Mm-hmm.
it's something that I've been like working towards for a really long time. And I personally like the practice area, and I
Okay.
like the legal aspect of things. Like I like looking into things and seeing how it works from a legal perspective, and then how
Mm-hmm.
we solve it, and what the courts have said about these types of cases. But then also I like baking. I actually just don't know. It's a question that I get asked very often, and I still don't know what my response is. I don't know
Okay.
if long term one will be more prevalent than the other, but right now I personally would not give up one. I like them both.
Yeah, it's tough, isn't it? Like you just want to have like a 48-hour day and then you can do both. But okay, that's cool. To be fair, like if I had to make a choice, I mean, obviously I know what I'd make a choice because I'm not making money off the YouTube thing yet, but one day.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, you've been doing a lot of stuff on the creative side with baking because you said you decorate them and stuff. So, have you been able to use some of the skills you picked up from that into your regional planning skills?
Yes, some of
Yeah.
those are transferable. The creative side less so, but like the management side. So learning how to, it's weird. Like baking a cake has like some scientific aspect to it because you have to make sure that all the ingredients are right. Like you can't put too much baking powder, or else your cake's
Yeah.
gonna look weird.
Mhm.
You have to like make sure that all the measurements are fine. But then actually having like that, what's the word? Like having that, like making sure you're measuring things right, and having like that. I'm blanking.
Attention to detail.
Hmm?
Attention to detail.
Yeah, like having that attention to detail, making sure you're following things step by step actually translates very well into law, because you need to make sure you're paying attention to everything. Like one little thing in a case can make a difference. So when you're reading through cases, you have to make sure you're like paying attention to all the details. When your clients give you information about their their cakes, you have to make sure you're paying attention to detail. And then also, like, again, the time management part, like learning to manage your time making cakes. Like cakes can take a long time to make it. Usually, like most people think they're pretty quick and they take you like 10 minutes and you're like magically done with this beautiful cake. But they take like hours on hours. So just learning to manage your time and making sure that you have enough time to do it and that you're not like underestimating how long it's going to take you is like the same with law. There's certain things that I do like in my planning law career that I don't underestimate how long it will take me, because then if I do and I schedule other things into my schedule, it can conflict very fast. And then I'm just doing all these things at once. And you want to make sure you're giving the best like client service that you're doing. So you have to make sure that everything's like properly scheduled. Again, it's scheduling. What else? I would say like just like the business development as well. So I'm in private practice now. I was at the government before, but being a private practice, you do have business development. So learning how to manage your clients, learning how to develop relationships with your clients. That's kind of something I've been doing with my baking career for quite a long time. So some of my clients, like I've had one girl who I baked her like wedding cake, her first child's baptism cake, like all these different cakes for different events in her life. But she was one of my clients like originally when I opened up from one of my old yeah, so like making sure you continue that client development and making sure you're like meeting all your clients' needs and like all that stuff, it translates very well into law because it's the same type of aspect. You have to make sure you're doing what your client wants and making sure that it's within the legal limits of what they're allowed to do, and you have to make sure you're managing their expectations as well. And that's something you have to do with cakes as well. So like if a client gives you a cake you can't make, and you have to manage their expectations. So if you can't physically make it, or there's a reason why you can't make it, or if you can't make it for the price that they want it, you have to manage their expectations so that way they know what they're going to get. So those kinds of things. The creative side, I would say, is less so transferable, but I think that like sometimes when you're looking at how to solve an issue in law, like that creative side might come out a bit. Seeing like where you can, like what new like legal ways you can resolve the issue that's before you, or how else to look at this legal aspect and like see how it can be differentiated from before. Like that kind of stuff maybe is a little bit, but I would say the other parts are definitely more transferable.
Okay, so like the research side as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The research. I forgot about that. Yeah, researching all of the cake stuff and how to do things. I would say that one of my strongest qualities in law is actually researching right now. I'm a very good researcher. I've been told that in my previous jobs. So I think that definitely translated well, considering how much research I did for my cake business.
Nice. Sab, you had a question?
Yes, I wanted to continue with what is the most fulfilling part of your role in Baker's Craft?
I think my most fulfilling part is when the cake actually turns out. So I like when clients give me, like some clients, like recently I got asked to make a watch cake, and the client had given me an actual watch. Like she hadn't given me like a cake that was previously made to look like this watch. She gave me an actual watch, like a picture of a watch. And I was like, okay. So it was translating that physical picture into a cake and seeing like the client's reaction for it is probably the most fulfilling part. Like seeing how they, like a lot of people don't have that creative aspect to see how it will look in the end. So when I first see that picture, I can imagine what I'm going to do and how it's going to look. And then actually seeing how the client reacts to it and how well they like the cake, it's probably the most fulfilling part. Like I love it. I love when people post about it. I love when people are like, they'll message me after saying how great it looked or how much they liked it. They couldn't believe how it turned out. And for me, it's just so fulfilling because I think that's the best part. There's nothing that beats it. Like, or when people tell me how great it tastes, there's nothing that beats that. Like just knowing that there's something that I'm doing, that they like all that work that I'm putting into it and all that like heart that I'm putting into making that cake look like the watch that she wanted, or like making different recipes so that way they taste a certain way. Like it just makes me so happy to see that people actually appreciate everything that I put into that cake at the end too.
Okay.
Worst part is when I get the cake because then it's gone. I'm like, no.
Yeah. So do you have a photo of that on Instagram? So
yeah, I have a photo of it on Instagram.
Ooh. Okay, nice. I will look it up and I'll hopefully remember to put a photo of that right in here because that is cool.
Yeah, that one was probably the coolest cake I've made this year.
I guess you're ready for Cake Boss then.
Yeah, I'm ready for Cake Boss. I can take on Buddy. That show's still so impressive, like how they do all those. The cakes are so big. That's one day what I aspire to be able to do.
and like at the speed that they do when there's an emergency, all the changes. And going around that line, have you faced any major challenges with the business, and how have you been able to market yourself effectively?
So I do face challenges with the business quite often. I face challenges in like bringing new products. So that was like a big thing, like being able to, like also getting enough recognition to be able to have a client base is also very hard, especially in the last year. I've been noticing that a lot of other cake businesses popped up, which is great for people. But it is like saturating the market a little bit. So it's harder to get that client base. But what I've been doing is like I like recently expanded to Etsy, like I mentioned, and I've also revamped with the way that my Instagram looks. So I added in a lot more information than I had before, and I make my posts more interactive now with like the public, so that way people can comment on the post, or they can mention if they like an idea or if they don't like an idea, or like sometimes I'll say like, do you guys want a giveaway? And then people will be like, yes, and they'll notice that I get more followers because I'm announcing that I might have a giveaway coming up. Also, giveaways are great. They bring people. I've noticed that I've gotten like a few people from giveaways, and then they actually end up ordering stuff afterwards. I guess because they see that all the content that's on my posts and on my page, and then they like it, and so they order after. But I would say like more so, one of the bigger challenges that I have is the time management part. I've been like, it is hard doing like a full-time career and then having like this on the side, especially when most cakes are for the beginning of the weekend as opposed to Sunday. So if everyone was ordering cakes for Sunday, it'd be great because then Saturday I could be off, I could do all the cake orders, but everyone orders cakes for Friday night. Like it's always for Friday night. So it's like really managing that time during the weekend is hard because sometimes things come up in my regular job that are unexpected. So I really have to work around that even further. So if I have like a slotted time that I need to move, I have to move it. Like sometimes I'm working really late into the night. So like I'll finish my regular job maybe around 7, 8, and then I'll be baking until like 11, 12. And then I have to get up the next day to do it all over again. So I would say that's the biggest challenge that I've been facing lately is just that time management aspect and like accounting for when things come up that I'm not expecting to be. But for marketing, I've been finding that posting more regularly, trying to be more interactive. Doing giveaways is great. For anyone who runs like a cake business, I would always recommend doing small giveaways. Don't put yourself to the point where you're losing out on all your business. Like you don't want to be doing a giveaway every week. But like I do a giveaway maybe every couple months, every few months, and then try to be more interactive. Like even posting on my stories and putting like questions there for people to like. The other week I posted if there's a certain product that people are looking for that they would really want and would want to purchase, and someone actually commented a product which I'm not going to share yet because I haven't launched it. But it's then I messaged and reached out to this person. They're like, yeah, we would order it pretty often because it's something that we're like looking for and we can't really find it in Toronto yet. So like being interactive like that, I think it helps engage more clients because like from her, she told a few of her friends that I'm thinking of doing it, and they all followed me because they're all going to be looking for this product. So like that type of stuff is really good on the marketing end. You have to be like very, very active, which is also a very hard part with me because every day I'm having to post and think of these active posts. Like you can't just be, hey, you gotta have to give like a cool caption. Like I just posted cookies for a pharmacist who recently graduated. But I put like as a caption, a cookie a day keeps the doctor away. And so like that got a lot of comments on my post because people were interactive with that post. But it's like thinking of like that part of it too. It's like not only having to make goods and thinking of new goods, I'm having to like make sure that my marketing like strategies are up to date, that things are very interactive. It's a lot, but yeah, I would say like marketing is a big part. It's a big part.
Yeah, I just want to jump in real quick because like that's the same thing I find with YouTube as well. Like you have to always be, posting something, even on Instagram, just post something, try and be interactive. And typically for me, I have this thing where I have the wave of energy for a week. And then after that week, the next week, I'm just like, no, like that's it, I'm gone. So how do you manage to like keep that up for a while?
I would say I have those every week probably too. Last week was definitely a week where I was like, I can't do this. It's not happening. But then like I pull through and I do it. But like it's very like it's hard because some weeks I am more discouraged. But then I think what helps me pull through is that like people will message me and they'll say like how great they like something and they want to order it, and it'll remind me like what I'm doing is like appreciated by the people that are on my page and that people are liking the content that I'm posting. But I try to like it's like I don't do it on Instagram because I find Instagram has little tweaks on it that kind of delete my post sometimes. But like you save like a post in Instagram, you can keep it there and post it later on. So what I do, I like set it all up, and then I copy and paste my post into my like phone notes, and then I set it up for the week on like Sundays some days. So that way I know what I'm posting for that week.
Okay.
And then I just copy and paste it back into Instagram, and then it shares it directly to Facebook for me. So like I try to like set them up, like the weeks that I'm feeling like I don't want to do this, I try to set them up earlier that week, so that way I'm not posting that week. But there's definitely some weeks where it's more of a struggle, like especially if like that week is like a slow week for my side business. I like for Baker's Craft, like I you get discouraged, and I feel like most people do too. And then I also like reach out to my friends who are doing this as well as a side job and talk to them about how I'm feeling. And it's interesting to see how many people like feel the same way and they have the same struggles. So kind of like once you start talking to them and you kind of encourage each other to continue doing it, and that's basically how I pull through. Like having that support system is good too, and pre-planning all my posts are great. It also takes away the stress of posting every week.
Yeah.
But the week I don't do that, it's like every day is like a new, like I always text my friends and my sister and I'm like, what should I caption this? Like, give me ideas. And then whoever gives me the best idea, sometimes I'll take it, but sometimes I have to come up with things, and you can spend like hours trying to Google stuff, like how to make something sound cool.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. I'm going to follow you right now so I can get some ideas and use it for my stuff as well.
do
Not
it.
much to do with cakes, but you know, just the interactive side is pretty good.
Yeah, I always post like, I find that like once I have like a followers base, like posting in my story and like giving them the options, saying like, which one do you like better, this or that? Like people actually like choose this or that, and then I follow up with it. Like I did it for a giveaway. I asked people like what they would prefer for their giveaway, and people responded for it, and I got like a lot of interactions. And that post ended up getting like over 300 comments, and like I got a bunch of followers from it. Yeah, so
Ooh.
what people like, and then like going with what they like is like something that's very helpful, I've been finding.
All right. Well, that's cool. Do you want to take over my Instagram as well, or is no time?
No time. I mean, I can do it.
Okay. Good.
So I wanted to ask you another question. It's a cheeky question. So I'm Peruvian. I'm grown my whole life there until I was 19. And there's this Peruvian delicacy called picarones. It's kind of a donut.
Okay.
And you put honey on top, and it's so delicious. Like it's like you're eating typical Peruvian food, and then you have it as a dessert, and it's the best.
It sounds
Have you have you ever thought about diversifying and going into different cuisines?
I thought about diversifying like what I offer. So I do offer sometimes like some Italian desserts. Like I'll offer cefolia, I'll offer like cannolis, I'll offer like those types of desserts. I tried making Greek donuts once. I do like diversifying into those areas, but I find that people like going to like their homegrown bakery that they know is good, and like so. And I have the same thing. Like there's certain Italian bakeries that I just absolutely love, and I'll go back there every time I want like a certain dessert. And like even like more because I don't want to make it. Like it takes a long time to make some desserts. Like cannolis take me a while to make, just because I want it to be perfect and I want them to look pretty enough that they can be posted on my Instagram. So sometimes you just want a dessert and you want it in like 10 minutes, so you go and buy it. But I definitely do like making things that are new. Like I like trying new recipes. Like I watch it's called the Great Canadian Baker, and every week they do like a challenge. So they do like a few weeks ago they tried, I don't remember what it's called, but it's like from Ireland. It's a cookie from Ireland, I believe, or from England. And like after that episode, I tried making it because I do like learning how to make different desserts. Even if I don't offer it, I like knowing I could make it. And also if I ever go on the show, that I would have diversity in my background to be able to make different things, because you never know what they're going to pull out their hat. But I do like learning to make them. I also like, what I like doing is going through, like I like finding a new dessert that I did something that I offer. And I like going through like multiple recipes and seeing what I like from the different recipes. And like, I guess because I've been doing it for so long, I kind of know, like, I don't want too much flour, or I do want too much flour. Like, it really depends on what you're making. If you want like your cookie to be thicker or low, thinner, you want it more flour or less flour. So I like going through like the different recipes and pulling from it what I like, and then trying to make it work with that. So like I like creating my own recipes for like these authentic dishes that I don't particularly make, but I don't usually offer them on my account. But I do, if someone asks like for specific desserts, I will tell them that I could make it for them. So
So
if I can make it for them, if I can, I won't.
So you mentioned a little bit like about the competitions and you liking a lot those shows. Um, have you thought about joining one or participating in one?
I thought about participating in one. The Great Canadian Baker is actually doing their applications right now, and I'm in debate if I'm going to apply for it. I just don't know if I'm too advanced or not advanced enough. Like it seems like they look for more amateur bakers, and I don't know if I would be considered an amateur baker just because I do it for like a business as opposed to like on the side, like as at home on Sunday morning making like desserts for my friends and family. But I have thought about doing more, like even if that one doesn't work out, I have thought about like doing more of like competition like shows just because I think that it's interesting. I'm a very competitive person. Growing up playing sports my whole life, I would have to win. So I would love doing like a show like that. But I am starting to look into it now, I guess, because it started, I guess with COVID, it just became more of an idea for me, like doing something like that became more realistic. And then just seeing like the people that are on these shows and realizing that I could be one of those people too. So I am going to put in an application probably for the Great Canadian Baker, and I guess we'll see what happens, but I'm not sure if I would qualify. It's hard. Like you don't know what they look for. So it's hard to see like what kind of show. And it's also like they probably get like quite a few applications.
You should
Probably-
definitely. Oops, sorry.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say you should definitely try. Like
Yeah.
I checked your Instagram and it looks delicious.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt to try. That's the thing. And like that's what I think with most things. Like even trying new recipes, like it doesn't hurt to try. It can be expensive depending on what you're trying to make because some things do call for like a lot of butter. And I don't know if you've ever bought butter from the grocery store, but it's like $6 for one butter.
Oh my god.
It's expensive. And then if you use like 4 in a recipe and it doesn't work, you just wasted $20 and you're like, why? But it doesn't hurt to try. So I'm going to apply. It's just whether or not I have time to do the application. There's so much more that is the issue right now. It's been a pretty busy and Easter's coming up.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
a lot of orders. And there's like, yeah, a lot of the holidays are coming up. There's one that started yesterday and then next weekend. So a lot of orders coming up as well.
Well, now it's Dylan has a couple of questions. So the floor is yours.
Yeah, just on the same wavelength as the bakery stuff, we were gonna ask, what are some of your, like personally, what are some of your favorite baked goods, and what are some of your favorite goods from the baker's craft? So two different standpoints here.
Okay. So what are my favorite baked goods? I actually like I love cannolis. I don't know. I just like that they're soft because you have the filling inside, but then they're also crunchy. I like that you can basically fill it with any flavor. I also like Bombay. It's my favorite Italian dessert. I like how like it's like a donut, but it's not a donut, but it is a donut. It's great. I don't particularly like making them as much, so I don't make them as often, and I don't like offer them on my account. Like I'll make them for people here and there. Like I've made cannolis for my friends a couple of weeks ago, but I don't really make them very often. But from a baker's craft, I think my favorite is macaroons and the Mackies. I love cakes. I've always liked cakes. It's always been something that I like, but I don't particularly like having a whole cake. So for me, it's like I like the macaroons and the Mackies because they're smaller and they're like I can have one in one sitting and then I can save it and have another one. But macaroons are just my favorite. I don't know, like for me, it's just been something that they just taste so good. They don't taste too sweet. They don't taste like not sweet at all. Like they're perfect. I also like making them because they're tricky. And then the Mackies, I like cookies and I like macaroons. So combining them just makes them great. It tastes phenomenal. It's like the best of both worlds. So I like those most, I think.
I was gonna on top of that, I was gonna ask. You mentioned earlier that the Bake Off and then the other cookbooks, but did you have a certain inspiration that you go by when you come up with something like the Mackies or the macaroons that you alluded to earlier on?
Sometimes I do and sometimes I don't. Sometimes it's more like I'll be in conversations with friends and family and they'll say like that they like this. And so I will go and I will look for hundreds of recipes and I'll find out what I like from those recipes and make it. And then sometimes it's that I see like another bakery doing something and I like that idea. So I like do a spin-off or like I get my ideas from seeing like different Instagram accounts. So it's like I like that news feed, the second page on the Instagram, where it has like all those different things of what you like. Like I like scrolling through there and getting ideas from it. It depends. There's no like one place I get inspiration from, but I would
Mhm.
say there like it's different bakeries, just seeing like what people are doing, and then just talking to like my friends and family, seeing what they want, what they would like, is kind of where I get like all my inspiration from. Um, like I have like hundreds of cookbooks, like recipe books, but it's like I don't know. I get it from like all different places. I think it's more like someone has to bring it up or it has to be brought to my attention and then or it
Mhm.
has to be something I've been thinking about making and then from there I can go. So it's probably like a variety of places that I get all my inspiration from.
Okay. Can I just jump around real quick?
Yeah.
How much time do you spend on like researching the recipes?
Quite some time for certain things. Like cakes are much easier for me. Cakes because
Mhm.
I've had like I have a base recipe for both like my chocolate, my vanilla, and then I can spin off there to make like lemon, or I can make like a raspberry cake, like all or pistachio cake, like all that is easier to me. But like for example, with my Mackies,
Mhm.
cookie, I make cookies, but like they vary in like their size and their texture and everything. So I wanted them to be thicker, so that way they would hold like the macaroon inside them. So for that one,
Okay.
I tried like quite a few times. Like I tried 15 different versions of a recipe until I added in one specific ingredient, and it made the complete difference for it. And then like that's the recipe I've been using since. But it sometimes it's like I would say like the Mackie one I was researching for 2 months easily
Oh wow.
figure out how to do it. Yeah, because like I also want it to taste good. Like the thing is like a
Oh
lot of
yeah.
can look good and that's great if it looks good, but for me I've enjoyed like I enjoy when baked goods look good, but I enjoy when they
Mhm.
taste good. Like for me it has to taste good. If I won't eat it I won't sell it. Like that's
Yeah.
like my rule. So like I wanted to taste to a certain way, and then once I got there, everybody who's like ordered from like a Mackie has said they really enjoy, like the recipe and that it's not just like the usual cookie recipe. So it took a while to get there, but once I got there, it was like it's good. So it really depends. Um, like it really depends on what I'm making. Macarons are a lot easier because it's more like those ones I don't do that much recipe like research on because macaroons have like their base shell and then you can just change which nut you use. So if you don't want almonds, you can just grind up like a pistachio nut and use pistachio instead. So those ones are pretty easy. It's more like and then icings are pretty easy as well. So it really depends on what I'm making and like where I'm expanding my like baking into. If it's a new recipe, I spend like if I were to make those donuts you mentioned earlier, like it would probably take me like I would probably research them for say a week and a half to 2 weeks, and then I would pull everything from there and I would make it.
Okay. Yeah, Dylan, see you have to actually research your baking stuff
You
before you
actually
make it.
do. Yeah, I just had a fun sort of question that I wanted to add on. Because basically in the beginning you mentioned something about baking needing a scientific element in terms of how much baking soda you need to use for your cupcakes. Well, like as a kid, like I wanted to make a banana muffin for Mother's Day, and so me and my brother we woke up at 5:45 a.m. in the morning just to make this cupcake. And in the end, it didn't turn out really well. I think the scientific element, as you alluded to earlier, I think we failed on that aspect. I think we added a little too much sugar, a little too much baking soda. And then I think too much banana was added in there. Too much love was given to that cupcake. In the end, it didn't turn out too well. Like I think the cupcake exploded. It turned out really like bad, and so we wanted to still give her something. So we went to the nearest Starbucks and got her a cupcake anyways, and told her that we made it. But we can resonate with how hard it is to make a cupcake. Like with no experience, it was really difficult. The amount of attention to detail that you required to make one. So could you potentially share some of your unique tips on how to make an awesome cupcake so that in the future I can make my mom like a delicious one?
Yeah, and
Uh,
you can save his kitchen as well from having to be
and I
exploded.
can definitely save my kitchen as well. Yes.
Well, I'll start with make sure you're measuring everything properly. Like that's like the biggest one. If you're missing an ingredient, don't substitute it with something you think would be a good substitute. Substitute it with something you Google would be a good substitute. So like for example, if you're missing which one is it? I think it's baking powder. If you're missing baking powder, you can put like a little bit of lemon and baking soda and you combine them and it makes a baking powder substitute,
Oh.
but just substituting one for one doesn't work very well. Like you can
Oh,
do
okay.
it, but it just doesn't have the same texture.
Yeah.
I would say like it'll turn out still, but I would like having those like special little substitutes would be great. Use salted butter. That's a tip that I give
Salted
everyone.
Oh, okay.
Salted butter makes a little bit of a difference when you're baking. I find that it just tastes better. A lot of people use unsalted butter. Most bakeries, I think, use unsalted butter, but I like salted butter for everything. I like using cream cheese in your icings. Even if you're not making a cream cheese based icing, adding
Mhm.
cream cheese into your icing makes it a little bit fluffier than normal. So instead of getting that dense icing that you're putting on top of like a cupcake, you get like this fluffy light cupcake.
Okay, right.
Yeah, like those are some tips I would give. Like the biggest tip is if you don't have something and you're trying to substitute it, is to Google what you can substitute it for. Because like a lot of people, like even my family does it. My mom called me one day. She's gonna get so mad. She called me one day and she's like, "I'm making icing." She's like, "I don't have butter, so I use water." I was like,
Oh,
"Oh."
All right.
I was like, "No, do you have margarine? Like, you can use margarine. It won't be as good. It'll be like more like don't use margarine if you're making a cupcake. It's just gonna be like a puddle." But she was making it for Cinnabon, so it was fine. But like you have to make sure you're substituting it with something that's actually substitutable, because otherwise it's gonna end up with like a puddle of nothing. And if you want to add certain ingredients, like if you want to add more wet ingredients, so for example, if you want to add more butter, you have to substitute it also with a little bit more of a dry ingredient. So you want to put a little bit maybe more flour, or otherwise you're gonna get this soggy puddle of like banana.
Okay.
Like those are like tips that I would give. But if you don't like a recipe, you can combine recipes. Just make sure you're not substituting too much wet and too much dry. So you want to make sure you're still having a good balance between the two, because without that is where you get like that. Like,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because I see like that's quite a big problem when I bake. Like, for example, if something needs brown sugar and I run out, I'm like, that's fine. White sugar is fine. Because you don't understand the chemistry, you don't
Yeah,
understand the
definitely.
process behind. So you just throw things in and you're just like, it's fine.
You can substitute those, but if depending on what you're making, like if you substitute it in a cookie, your cookie instead of being like, well, it'll be like a nice like brown cookie, will be like a flat cookie, because white sugar actually melts more in the oven than brown sugar does. So it releases more of like the fattiness or whatever it is that comes from the sugar. I don't really know the full scientific background behind it, but like if I'm cooking cookies, I only use brown sugar. I don't use white sugar, even though recipes I'm call for white sugar, because I like when they're thicker as opposed to when they're like
when they're just like a big blob.
Yeah, so it depends on what you're cooking. You can substitute the two, but if you're cooking cookies, I wouldn't substitute fully the two. I would just go and buy brown sugar.
But that requires going outside
Too much
and
effort.
walking to the shop, which is difficult.
One other tip is you don't actually need vanilla extract in a lot of your stuff. If you don't have that, like, yeah, so like side note, because like I find like a lot of times people don't have vanilla extract, and that's the one thing they don't want to go buy. You don't need it unless you're making like a vanilla based item. So like if you're making cookies, you don't need vanilla extract. You can just substitute it. Like there's a bakery in New York City. I don't remember what it's called. It's like Levine's, or I don't remember the exact name of them, but they make like huge cookies. They don't use vanilla extract in their cookies.
Okay.
Is what people say.
So why would that be?
It's just that it adds like a vanilla aspect to it. So if you don't necessarily need vanilla in like cookies, because cookies are mostly butter based. So when you're getting that like yummy part of the cookie, what you're tasting is actually like the butter combined with the sugar. So like the vanilla flavoring doesn't do so much for you as the butter does. So if you substitute the butter in your cookie, you're not gonna taste good. Like if you put shortening instead of butter, it won't end up tasting as good as if you just like completely miss out on the vanilla extract. You can also substitute it for like hazelnut or any other almond extract, like all those extra ones. Like you can substitute it if you want like a different nutty flavor to it, or a different flavor to it, like lemon extract too.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure like every baking recipe is like, you need vanilla extract. I'm like, oh no, I don't have it.
Yeah. Unless you're making vanilla cake, you don't really need it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No, never done that. Yeah. So it's fine. Yeah. So I think we just have one last question for you, and it's more of because you said you're doing an Etsy, you're doing some Instagram. So what kind of platforms do you use to actually sell your cake? So you talk about how you advertise it, but what do you use to sell? Do you have like your website? Can you sell through Facebook and Etsy? So can you talk about that a bit?
Yeah, so I don't sell any of my baked goods on Etsy. I'm considering starting to sell cookies on Etsy, but cakes, because Etsy has a shipping component to it, and cakes don't as well.
Okay.
mean, I could try, but I don't think it would get in one piece. But I do it mostly through my Instagram or through word of mouth. So
Okay.
I get most people who like contact me through Instagram and they'll be like, I want to order a cake. And then we'll like set it up to do the whole process of
Okay.
it. Or like I'll get like a friend text me through just regular message or like Facebook messaging. And like people will just order from there. Like I don't really have a platform. I tried setting it up on a website a while ago.
Mhm.
My credit card wouldn't be accepted on there as like
Oh.
option or yeah, or
Right.
my account wouldn't be accepted. So it wasn't working out. So I'm looking into that because
Mhm.
I am trying to get like a website to like put up everything because it would be a lot easier having like one centralized place that everyone could just go to.
Mhm.
But for now, it's just like Etsy's for like all the crafting stuff. So I'm selling like dog tags on there, cake toppers, personalized cheese boards, like those types of things that are shippable. I'm selling them on Etsy. And then my cakes I do through my Instagram for the most part.
Okay. So when then people order like, oh, can you please make me, I don't know, hazelnut macaroon. I don't know, it's the first thing. Or would they be like, oh, I saw you, this is the kind of things you post. Can you make it for me?
Yeah, so I get both. So I'll get
Mhm.
like recently I got someone who sent me one of my own posts and was like, can you make this for me? Like exact same thing. And I was like, it won't look the exact same because it's not like easy to exactly replicate. Like
Yeah.
nothing can be exactly replicated.
No, yeah.
So I made it to basically be the same. And then sometimes I'll get people who will message me and be like, I'm looking for like a hazelnut macaroon, but I also wanted to have like this wording on top. Can you do that? And then I'll say,
Okay.
yeah, I can do that. And I'll like put it on through icing or like airbrush it on, like whatever the case may be. Oh, sorry.
No worries. No worries. Cool. Do you still do sports?
I do. I'm waiting
Huh?
till COVID, I guess, isn't
Yeah.
a thing anymore. But I'm hoping. I'm a goalie in soccer, so my
Oh,
team
nice.
Oh,
up maybe playing this summer, and I am very excited to possibly be playing. I guess it will depend on what happens with COVID, but I'm really excited for COVID to end, for sports to start again. Like last summer, I missed out on softball and soccer.
Yeah. That I missed that quite a lot.
Yeah, it's
Playing football.
hard without it.
Huh?
It's hard without it. It's like, what do you
It
do?
is. It is very hard. Yeah. Right. So I guess that's all the questions we have for you. Do you have any questions for us? I don't know. I like asking at the end.
I don't know. I didn't really think of questions for you guys.
No worries. I should probably like ask that in advance so people could, come up with
Yeah.
something. But it's fine if you don't have like.
No,
But
why
yeah.
don't
Wow.
you guys tell me about the YouTube account? I'm very
Oh.
interested in
Oh
it.
God. Oh God. We're gonna cut the video right here. No, it's just basically like I had so much time on my hands because uni. Well, we didn't have uni, so we just had a few courseworks to finish, and that's pretty much it. So I had plenty of time, so I just decided to start a gaming channel and that sort of stuff. So I do Football Manager, and that's what my YouTube channel is all about: football and Football Manager.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
A lot of
It-
subscribers yet? Or are you
Sorry.
building up?
Getting there. So I'm like what 238, I think.
Wow.
Yeah, it's growing slightly. So
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I find
Yeah.
if you're posting things that people like do, like if you're posting things that people can relate to, they're gonna follow it because they can relate to it.
yeah. But it's very hard talking on camera, especially at the start, because you're just kind of like this, and you're just like, hi guys, I'm scared. But then again, it gets better. It gets better. And the good thing is, these guys found me through that. So technically, I get a job experience out of it. So yeah, it's kind of cool.
Oh, that's cool. So you're not all based in the same. You don't know each other from before.
Well, I knew Dylan,
Okay.
so we went to the same middle school together.
Okay.
Yeah, and then he was posting a job, and I was like, "Ooh, I know a little bit about content creation." So yeah, and he's like, "Cool, show me your stuff," and I did, and he's like, "Ooh, we love you. Please
Oh.
run our content." So yeah, that's
Good.
kind of it. Yeah, huh?
A good addition, I said. I watched your previous videos and they were very interesting. Like I liked them. I was very,
Thank you.
which is why I'm here, obviously.
Yeah. We do make a mistake though in putting it because, well, you guys are in Canada, I'm in England, and it's kind of always based around my eating times. So whenever it starts going to like, the business side is fine because I'm fine, but like whenever it starts going, oh yeah, so we make this beautiful food, I just go, yeah, guys, why? I want to eat. Why? Yeah. I need to like bring snacks, but it'll be kind of unprofessional to eat while we're talking about food. Right. Well, huh?
Just turn your camera off, take a few bites.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Or I could just ask like, the people we're talking to send food to England. So yeah, that'd be good. Advertising as well. It's beautiful. So before we do finish this, we would like you to say like, what's your Instagram? What's your Instagram? I guess tag.
Your
and,
social media.
Yeah, social media stuff.
So my Instagram one is at a baker's craft. So it's literally how it's spelled. Do you want me to spell it or no?
No, it's fine. We find it. It's just like for people to be able to find it.
Yeah, it's at a baker's craft.
Okay.
And then my Etsy is the same thing. So a baker's craft on Etsy. My Facebook is not updated just yet because I'm having an issue changing my name on Facebook. I had recently changed my business name. It was for Cake Steak before, and I changed it to a baker's craft recently. But Facebook won't let me update my name on Facebook, so I'm gonna have to remake my whole profile.
Okay.
So that one, just leave it out for now. But my Instagram and my Etsy are very easily found. If you just search, there's no underscores, no periods, no nothing. So
is it the private account on Instagram?
no, it should be open to the public.
All right. So maybe I don't know how to spell it. Interesting.
So I'll spell it for you. It's at like the at mark and then ABAKERSCRAFT.
All together.
Yeah, one word.
Yeah, it's private.
What?
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm
Maybe
going
it's
crazy. A baker's craft, right?
you found
Sorry, I
it?
thought you said at. I'm a little bit
Oh,
like I said, it's
at sign.
yeah, it's
Sorry.
it's almost time to eat and I need my
Yeah.
coffee and I'm just not processing. Found it. Oh, the cakes look awesome.
Thank you.
Anyways, thank you for joining us on this
Thank you
podcast.
for joining us.
Thank you for
Having
joining.
me.
So there we have it. Another interesting conversation with Katy on the Matchii Experience. Her story was rather interesting for viewers out there who think that it's impossible to balance a full-time job with your passion. Let Katy be your example.
Interested in more videos? Follow us on YouTube, Instagram, and LinkedIn, where we post weekly articles and bi-weekly podcasts. Details will be in our description down below.
With that, we hope you have enjoyed our latest podcast episode. It has been your hosts, Timur, Dylan, and Seb on the Matchii Experience, and we'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye, guys.
Bye.